I voted no, absolutely no.
A resounding no.
Publicly calling on the college council to come back and bargain.
College faculty reject the latest offer as the strike enters a second month.
It's time for action now, and we want them back in the classroom.
But how willing is the province to force a quick resolution?
You're watching Global Toronto. This is Global News at 5:30.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Farah Nasser.
I'm Alan Carter, developing news tonight. With the longest college strike in Ontario's history, faculty have rejected the latest contract offer.
So that means the strike continues. But there is one glimmer of hope for 500,000 students who are caught in the middle. Let's go live to Shalima Maharaj with that. And Shalima, that is that talks are back on.
That's right, Farah. A glimmer of hope indeed here tonight. We were speaking with Warren Smokey Thomas, the president of OPSEU, just after the union spoke with Premier Kathleen Wynne. Now, of course, she met with both parties today following that rejection of the latest offer from the College Employer Council. Here's a listen to what Warren Smokey Thomas had to say.
I'll just say that the Premier was very instructive and very helpful, and they've actually had rooms arranged for the parties to attempt to negotiate an agreement, a mediator on site ready to go, and the teams are just getting ready to go to try and
So negotiations will start again here at this building.
They have as we speak.
That from Warren Smokey Thomas just a couple of hours after announcing an overwhelming number of OPSEU's membership had turned down the latest offer from the College Employer Council.
95% of our faculty came out and voted. 10,477 of them voted to reject this offer. That's a resounding indictment of the bullying processes that management has engaged in this round.
The union, representing more than 12,000 college faculty, say it comes down to quality and fairness. The union boss not mincing words about negotiations.
They thought, we had people out on strike for a few weeks. They'll be getting hungry. They'll be getting tired. Lots of pressure mounting on them from student groups and parent groups. And so they did a real, they overplayed their hand. I mean, when it comes to collective bargaining, they made every stake imaginable during this round of bargaining.
Premier Kathleen Wynne met with both sides Thursday. The College Employer Council would not go on camera but issued a statement reading in part, "This is a terrible result for the 500,000 students who remain out of class. I completely sympathize with our students who have been caught in this strike for more than 4 weeks. The college bargaining team will be in touch with provincially appointed mediator to seek his direction to the parties." Fanshawe student Sebastian Back is part of the proposed class action lawsuit against the colleges.
I know a lot of students at college and stuff like that, as soon as the school year is done, they'll be applying for jobs and stuff like that. But if we're still in school, it's going to be a lot more difficult.
If there's one message he's looking to send Queen's Park, it's this.
We're not against the faculty. We're very much in support of what they're doing. We just want to go back to school.
Now, this, of course, is where those talks were going on, and as far as we know, they continue behind closed doors as of tomorrow. That will bring us to day 33 of the strike. Farah?
Shalima Maharaj near Bay and Wellesley tonight. Thanks, Shalima.
Breaking news situation, and that is back to work legislation will be introduced tomorrow to end the Ontario college strike. Let's go live to Shalima Maharaj, who is standing by where negotiations were taking place up until quite recently.
That's right, Alan. Both sides were asked to come to some agreement, find a resolution by around 5 o'clock this afternoon, and that did not happen. They again reached an impasse in negotiations. This statement coming directly from the Premier saying that's why we are immediately tabling legislation that would end the dispute and return Ontario college students to the classroom where they belong. Now, under the proposed legislation that they're introducing, all outstanding issues would be referred to binding mediation arbitration. They're urging both parties to unanimously support the legislation so that students and faculty can return to class by Monday morning. So that is the latest. They were asked to find a resolution by 5 o'clock. That did not happen. And so now we're into this next step as we would have been going into that 6th week on the strike. Alan?
All right. Thanks so much, Shalima.
You're watching Global Toronto. This is Global News at 6.
Breaking news this hour, Queen's Park is moving to legislate striking college faculty back to work.
Before we go to Shalima Maharaj, I want to tell you that at Queen's Park right now, the bill to actually put the faculty back to work is about to be introduced in the legislature. What is going to be up in the air is what are the opposition parties going to do? Will it pass immediately? If it does, that means school will resume as early as Monday. Shalima Maharaj standing by, and what can you tell us where you are?
Well, that is the hope that school would resume by Monday. What we know is that the Premier has asked the parties, had asked them to come together to resolve the issues between them and find a pathway forward. And finding a pathway forward would have entailed a negotiated agreement or submitting a voluntary binding arbitration. But that didn't happen, and that is why we are where we are right now. And so what they are looking to do is they're looking to immediately table that legislation that would end the dispute, return the college students back to the classroom. They, of course, have been away for 5 weeks now. This is day 32 of the strike, and we had more than 10,000 of the union members voting against the latest offer that was put forward, less than 2,000 accepting it.
So, Shalima, what were you hearing from the union and also from the college employer as they went back in to bargain today?
Well, the union was saying that they are ready to bargain. They wanted to come to some sort of agreement, but there were some sticking points. Academic freedom was one of those prominent issues that remained there. There was also the issue of part-time workers, the fact that they have about more than 3/4 of faculty still part-time, and there was a clause in that agreement that they said would have made it possible to have more part-time workers, which is not what they were looking for. And when it comes to the College Employer Council, they would go on camera today, but did say that they were looking to work on trying to find an agreement, that this was terrible news for the 500,000 students that have been out of the classroom.
So, Shalima, what is next then in terms of this process? We're keeping our eye on Queen's Park. We're trying to bring up our legislative feed right now because we understand that in just a couple of minutes they're actually going to begin to introduce this legislation. So what's next?
So at this point, we are waiting to see exactly what's going to be happening over at Queen's Park. So what they're looking, like I said, is they're trying to get the students back into the classroom. They're urging the opposition parties at this juncture to unanimously support the legislation so that students can return to class. Again, the hope being as early as Monday morning.
All right, thank you. That is Shalima Maharaj with the latest on our breaking news on the Ontario college strike, which is about to end by legislation. I want to update you on the breaking news we have tonight. A lot has happened over the past hour. We have the province now saying that it will introduce back-to-work legislation to end the college strike. The question is now, when can they do that?
So this needs unanimous support to go through.
It doesn't. It needs unanimous support to go through quickly. What the government had asked for is a sitting for this evening to be able to let it go through, as we took a live look at Queen's Park. And the Ontario NDP that does not support the legislation said, no, we will not sit tonight. They will sit tomorrow. It appears that the government now will call everybody back. They normally don't sit on Fridays. They'll sit on Friday and they'll try and get this through. Right now inside of Queen's Park, Deb Matthews, who's the Deputy Premier, has been handling the questions on this and apparently still believes that the government can still get this passed and can still get teachers back into class on Monday. But that's up in the air at this point.
Because the NDP likely will just vote against it.
The NDP will vote against it. Now, keep in mind the Liberals have a majority and the Progressive Conservatives say that they will support it. So the legislation will pass. It just doesn't pass as quickly because the NDP will not sign on to unanimous consent.
So the union cannot be happy right now with the government.
Well, this is up for debate, and at 8 p.m. tonight, we've just heard from the union, from Smokey Thomas, that they will be holding a press conference to talk. So what's going to happen now is they will go back to work, and this will go into the hand of a mediator and an arbitrator, and often in these cases, those arbitrators are quite generous.